By late 1942, Stalingrad had ceased to exist as a functioning city and instead became a living battlefield where destruction shaped every human action. The Luftwaffe's relentless bombing campaigns had reduced residential districts, factories, and administrative centers into tangled heaps of stone, metal, and ash. What once were wide avenues became narrow corridors of rubble, and what had been apartment blocks turned into vertical graves. Fires burned continuously, fueled by broken pipelines and debris, casting an orange glow that mixed with thick black smoke. Civilians who had not escaped were forced underground into basements and sewers, where hunger and disease spread as rapidly as fear. The Volga River, once a lifeline, became a deadly crossing as Soviet reinforcements attempted to reach the city under constant artillery fire. Barges sank midstream, men drowned in freezing water weighed down by equipment, and bodies washed ashore alongside ammunition crates. For the soldiers arriving at Stalingrad, survival often depended on minutes rather than days. German forces expected a swift conquest, believing Soviet resistance would collapse after the initial bombardment. Instead, they encountered a nightmare environment where every meter of advance required blood. The city erased traditional front lines, turning combat into a series of isolated, chaotic engagements fought inside rooms, staircases, and shattered factories. Orders lost meaning once issued, as units became separated and commanders killed before they could relay instructions. This environment favored those who could adapt, observe, and strike without warning. The rubble created endless hiding places and elevated firing positions, ideal for snipers. Sound echoed unpredictably, masking the origin of gunfire. Dust clouds rose with every impact, concealing movement and confusing sight lines. Silence itself became suspicious. A quiet street could indicate an ambush rather than safety. The psychological strain on soldiers was immense. German troops spoke of feeling watched constantly, of fearing windows more than artillery. Soviet defenders understood that they could not defeat the Germans by force alone, so they embraced attrition. Every delay mattered. Every German casualty slowed the advance. Stalingrad was not defended with grand maneuvers, but with endurance, patience, and ruthless efficiency. The city itself became a weapon wielded by those who knew how to use it. In this landscape, a single hidden rifle could halt an entire company. The battle transformed warfare into a contest of nerves, awareness, and discipline, where survival depended on mastering the ruins rather than overpowering. The Red Army's response to the conditions of Stalingrad was born from necessity rather than ideology. Large-scale offensives proved disastrous in the confined terrain, where tanks became trapped and infantry suffered heavy casualties. Instead, Soviet commanders encouraged decentralized resistance. Small units were assigned to hold specific positions regardless of cost, sometimes defending a single room or staircase for days. Within this system, snipers emerged as a crucial force. Many Soviet snipers came from rural regions, hunters accustomed to long periods of stillness and careful observation. They adapted quickly to urban combat, using the ruins as natural camouflage. Snipers hid inside broken chimneys, beneath collapsed floors, and among piles of bricks. They constructed false firing positions to draw enemy attention while remaining concealed elsewhere. They studied the enemy obsessively, learning patterns of movement, identifying moments of carelessness, and exploiting routine behavior. German officers were prioritized because their loss caused confusion and hesitation. Machine gun crews and engineers were also targeted to prevent clearing operations. Each shot was calculated not only for its immediate effect, but for its broader impact on morale. The goal was to make the Germans afraid to move. Soviet snipers often worked in pairs or small teams, coordinating observation and fire. They rotated positions frequently to avoid detection, sometimes moving only a few meters after hours of waiting. Patience was essential. A sniper might wait an entire day for a single opportunity, knowing that a rushed shot could reveal his position and result in death. Conditions were brutal. Food was limited, water scarce, and medical care minimal. Snipers endured extreme cold, remaining motionless in freezing temperatures, their breath controlled to avoid visible vapor. Sleep came in short bursts, interrupted by explosions and the constant threat of discovery. Despite these hardships, snipers understood their value. Each successful engagement delayed German advances and reduced pressure on Soviet infantry elsewhere. The city rewarded discipline and punished arrogance. Soviet snipers became masters of deception, using helmets on sticks, staged movements, and deliberate noise to provoke enemy fire and reveal positions. Over time, German troops grew increasingly cautious, slowing their pace and clustering in defensive positions. This hesitation was exactly what the Soviet command desired. The sniper war turned Stalingrad into a battlefield where time favored the defenders. Every day the Germans failed to break through brought Soviet reserves closer and stretched German logistics thinner. The German Sixth Army was not blind to the threat posed by Soviet snipers. As casualties mounted, German commanders deployed their own marksmen to counter the invisible enemy. These counter-snipers were often experienced soldiers selected for their skill and composure. Their mission was among the most dangerous in Stalingrad: locate, observe, and eliminate Soviet snipers without revealing their own positions. This led to a deadly contest of patience and perception. Sniper warfare became a game of observation where victory often depended on who noticed the smallest detail. German snipers learned to watch rubble piles for subtle disturbances, to note unnatural shadows, and to recognize patterns in Soviet behavior. They used periscopes, mirrors, and improvised optics to observe without exposing themselves. However, Soviet snipers adapted quickly, changing positions after each engagement and deliberately misleading their opponents. Both sides used decoys and false signals to provoke shots. A discarded helmet, a piece of cloth, or a staged movement could draw fire and reveal an enemy's location. These encounters often lasted days, with neither side firing until absolute certainty was achieved. The mental strain was immense. Snipers remained motionless for hours, sometimes days, enduring hunger, thirst, and exhaustion. A single lapse in concentration meant death. German soldiers described the sniper threat as demoralizing beyond physical losses. The inability to see the enemy created a sense of helplessness. Movement slowed to a crawl. Orders were delayed. Entire units became pinned down by the fear of unseen rifles. This psychological impact was as valuable to the Soviets as any tactical gain. German counter-snipers achieved successes, but the environment favored defenders who knew the ruins intimately. Sound echoed unpredictably, and debris constantly shifted underfoot. Snow and dust altered visibility. The city resisted all attempts at control. Each sniper duel was a microcosm of the larger battle, reflecting the exhaustion, desperation, and determination of both sides. Stalingrad was not won by a single engagement, but by thousands of such silent confrontations. Life as a sniper in Stalingrad was defined by isolation and constant psychological pressure. Unlike infantrymen who fought alongside comrades, snipers often operated alone or in pairs, cut off from support for extended periods. Communication was limited, and rescue was unlikely if discovered. Wounds often meant death, as evacuation under fire was nearly impossible. The physical demands were extreme. Snipers endured freezing temperatures, cramped positions, and prolonged immobility that caused numbness, cramps, and long-term injuries. Hunger was a constant companion. Water froze or ran out. Despite these hardships, snipers continued their work because hesitation endangered others. The psychological burden was heavier still. Snipers observed their targets closely, sometimes watching them for hours before firing. They saw faces, gestures, and moments of vulnerability. This intimacy left lasting scars. Many snipers later described haunting memories of the men they killed, even as they acknowledged the necessity of their actions. In Stalingrad, morality was overshadowed by survival. The city allowed no space for reflection during combat. Every decision was immediate and final. Fear was omnipresent. The sound of a distant shot could mean death seconds later. Sleep deprivation blurred perception. Some snipers experienced hallucinations, mistaking shadows for movement. Yet discipline kept them alive. The sniper's world was one of extremes, intense focus punctuated by sudden violence. These men became instruments of a larger strategy, sacrificing personal safety and mental well-being to slow the enemy. Their contributions were rarely visible, but they shaped the battle profoundly. Stalingrad consumed its defenders, leaving behind trauma that endured long after the war ended. As winter tightened its grip, the balance of power in Stalingrad began to shift. German supply lines were overstretched, and Soviet forces launched encirclement operations that trapped the Sixth Army within the ruins. Starvation and cold claimed lives daily. Ammunition dwindled. Morale collapsed. Snipers continued their work even as conditions worsened, exploiting German desperation and confusion. When the final surrender came in February 1943, it marked one of the most decisive turning points of the war. The defeat shattered German confidence and demonstrated that the Soviet Union could not only resist, but destroy a major Axis force. The sniper war of Stalingrad played a crucial role in this outcome. By delaying advances, disrupting command, and inflicting psychological damage, snipers multiplied the effectiveness of Soviet defenses. Their actions bought time, exhausted the enemy, and turned the city into an inescapable trap. Stalingrad reshaped modern warfare, proving that urban combat favored patience, adaptation, and psychological resilience over sheer firepower. The legacy of its snipers endures as a lesson in how individuals operating in silence can influence the course of history. The ruins of Stalingrad witnessed not only destruction, but a transformation in how wars are fought. The tension, stillness, and sudden violence seen in the video reflect a historical reality where survival depended on awareness, discipline, and the ability to endure unimaginable conditions. This was not legend. It was history written one shot at a time.